Maker, this is Claire from Eclair Makery, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to crochet my pumpkin corner to corner blanket square, which is a part of my pumpkin patch blanket. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming pumpkin patch blanket squares, and then we can go ahead and get started on making this pattern. To make this square, you will need 4 colors of worsted weight yarn. I am using a white as a background color for my square, then I have my orange for my pumpkin, and then a green for my leaf and brown for my stem. I'm using Bravo worsted weight yarn, which is one of my favorite acrylic yarns to use for blankets, and then you will also need a size J 6mm crochet hook to make this. So once you gather all your supplies, we can go ahead and start talking about using the graph for this pattern. To make this pattern and follow along with this video, you'll want to use either the free downloadable graph available on my blog, or you can get it with all of the other squares of the pumpkin patch blanket in my shops. So how you will read the graph is each square on the graph counts as 1 stitch. So each one of these squares is 1 corner to corner square in the blanket square overall. So you will start with 1 corner to corner square, which I'll show you how to do. Then you increase by 2 and you read it diagonally, working all the way up to the corners of the pattern. So you'll end row 11 where you have 2 of these white squares, and then instead of increasing outward like we've been doing all the way across here, you will start stacking up your white squares. By doing on row 12, you will go and you'll decrease along the edge, which I'll show you how to do, and then you'll do your white square on top here, do 2 white squares, then your orange ones to get up to adding in the green, or actually you won't add in green quite yet. Then you'll do the orange squares and then the white ones here. Then on row 13, you will crochet these 2 white. You'll still be increasing on this side, and then you'll work down here, and instead of going out, you will stack that white square on top of this one right here. And then when you get up here on row 14, you will have your decrease. Instead of stacking it on top, we'll be lining it up along the sides. So basically we're just trying to close up that square till we get up to the top, doing our color changes as we go, which I'll show you how to do. But that's an overall view of how you will read the chart when it comes to doing decreases and increases. So now that we know how to do that, we can go ahead and get started on our square. Once you are ready to begin crocheting your square, you are going to take the color that you're using for the background, and we are going to start making a corner to corner stitch. So if you've never done corner to corner crochet before, it uses a variation of chain stitches and double crochets to create tiny little squares that you use to make a giant one. So to start your first square, you are going to begin by chaining 6 stitches. And then you are going to go to this 4th chain from your hook, and you are going to do 1 double crochet in that chain. And so this forms the first stitch that makes up your first square. Then you are going to do a double crochet in the next 2 stitches, so 1 in each stitch. And then this forms your first corner to corner square. So see, it's really that easy. So then on the next row, this is going to be a wrong side row. So we are going to be working along the back side of the work, but since it's the same color, you can't really tell right now. But in general, with corner to corner patterns, an odd row is a right side row and a even row is a wrong side row. So that again is a odd row is a right side row, and an even row is a wrong side row. So since we are increasing our square out, we are going to start that by doing 6 chain stitches again off of this square, and then we're going to do the same thing again where we go to that 4th chain from our hook, and then we're going to do a double crochet in that stitch, and then another one in the next chain, and then another one in the chain after that. Then you are going to basically, you kind of like turn your square so that they kind of line up like this, and then you are going to go to that third double crochet stitch on this first square that you made, so 1, 2, 3, and you're going to do a slip stitch through that. So that forms your first square in your second row. Then to do the next square, you're going to do it on top of the first one that from the first row. So you're going to chain 3, and then you are going to double crochet 3 in the top of this square. So I like to do 1 in the corner, 1 in the middle, and then 1 along one of the chains that formed that first square. And then this forms your second row of your crochet square. Then you're going to do that same thing that we just did with this row, where we start by doing the 6 chain stitches and then starting that 4th chain from the hook, and then you repeat this for each row where you are doing increases. So you do this whole process till you get to the color work where you're doing your first colored square, and then I will show you how to join that to begin creating the pattern for this square that we're making. Once you are done with row 4 of your square, it's time to add in the color work for this. So to begin, we are going to start our row the normal way, where we do our 6 chain stitches, and then starting in the 3rd chain from the hook, we are going to do our first square of the row. And then instead of finishing off our square with our white yarn like we normally have been doing, we are going to switch to the orange. So we will take our orange yarn here, and we are going to loop it around the end of our hook and pull that through those last 2 loops of that last double crochet, and then we have officially switched to our orange. Then we are going to join to the next square just like this with our new color, and now we've officially switched. So normally I would say we can carry our yarn, but because this square right here is mostly orange in the middle, I don't recommend carrying the white yarn all the way through it. Instead, what we will do is we will join a new bobbin on the end right there. So we will start that by doing our 2 squares. So you just crochet like normal with this brand new color. Get those 2 squares done, just like this. And then on that last double crochet, we will switch to our white by adding in a new bobbin of the white. So whenever you join a new color that you've never added in before, you will do it like this, where you loop it like so, and then you join, and then you continue working the rest of your square. Now when you will switch colors from different colors, I'll show you how to do that on the next row, but this is how you add in those new bobbins and those new skeins of yarn to your project. So as I was saying, when you switch colors with a color that has already been joined, it's done a little bit differently than when you join a whole new skein or bobbin of yarn. So how that is done is you will take the yarn that's already joined. This is on the wrong side, so all of the strands of yarn are on the side facing you. When you do this on the right side, they will all be on the side that is away from you. So wrong side, strands of yarn are facing you. Right side, strands of yarn are away from you. So to switch yarn colors, you are going to stretch your orange yarn across the back of this white square right here, and we are going to hook that with our hook, and then you tighten it up these last white loops right there. Then you tighten the orange loop so that it is only the width of this square, and then we go ahead and join our squares together, and then we continue crocheting our squares like normal, and you can crochet around the orange strand of yarn in order to basically just weave that in on the back there. And then you will just continue crocheting your row like normal, and that is basically how you switch colors on the wrong side and on the right side as well. So you will just continue crocheting this square until you get to the corner, and then I will show you how we will start doing decreases for this square. Once you get to row 11, you'll notice that it stops increasing on this left side, and instead it starts moving up after this row. This means that we are going to start decreasing on the next row. So I have this row 11 highlighted in my software here so you can better see how the colors will look, and then I'll go ahead and move up a row so you can see how row 12 will look. So you'll see it, instead of going outward, it instead stacks up on top of that last square that we did in row 11. So how you will start this next row is, instead of doing your increase where you do the 6 chain stitches and then turning, you are going to turn your piece, and then you're going to slip stitch in the tops of double crochets that make up that last square you did. So you'll do 1 in each of those double crochets to give you 3 slip stitches along the side. And then you will chain 3 stitches and then start your squares for your row like normal. And that is how you do decreases with this pattern and all corner to corner patterns. So once you get to the very top of this side of the square, it will be after row 13, then you will start decreasing along that side as well. So that is how you'll do decreases. Whenever you have once you get to these corners, you start decreasing inward. So you'll do those 3 slip stitches along the tops of your squares, and then you will continue decreasing for the rest of the rows of this pumpkin square. And so go ahead and you will just crochet the rest of the square, adding in the green color work and adding in the brown for the stem as well. And then once you are all finished with doing all of that color work, I will show you how we will finish off this square. Once you have finished all of the color work for this pattern, you will fasten off all of those colors and then finish off the square by using just your background color. Then to complete your square, you will start by doing 3 chains and do your normal corner to corner square, and then you will join your square to the edge over here. And then once you have snipped off that yarn to fasten it off from your skein, you will fasten it off by doing a yarn over and pulling the yarn through that last loop, tightening that up, and then your square is all finished and ready to be joined to your blanket. So if you are following along with the pumpkin patch crochet along, you will want to make 4 of these pumpkins to add to your blanket, and then make the other squares that you will find in this crochet along. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this blanket square tutorial for this pattern. Be sure to check out the complete pumpkin patch blanket available in my shops at the links in the description box, or join the crochet along for this pattern in my Facebook group and on my blog as well. And I can't wait to share the rest of the pumpkin patch blanket squares with you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye!